So, picture this. It's early one morning, and one of the UK's most vital transport links just stops. The connection between Scotland and London gets severed, and it sends shockwaves through the entire rail network. Okay, let's get right into what happened. Now, we're not talking about just any old railway line here. The West Coast Main Line is often called one of the UK's busiest mixed-use corridors. What does that mean? Well, it means it's a critical artery that's not just moving thousands of passengers every day, but also a massive, massive volume of freight. And to put a number on that, how about this? A staggering 40% of all UK rail freight runs on this one line. Just think about that for a second. That's goods, supplies, all kinds of materials coming from Europe through the Channel Tunnel and making their way all the way up to Scotland. It is, without a doubt, the economic backbone of the country's rail system. And then, just like that, this critical national artery was suddenly blocked. The incident brought this whole essential flow of people and goods to a complete grinding halt. And it set the stage for days of major disruption. So what exactly went wrong on that morning near the village of Shap in Cumbria? Let's break down the incident itself. The day started out like any other. At 4:28 in the morning, the Avanti West Coast service pulled out of Glasgow, heading for London. But then, just before sunrise, around 6:10, the train derailed. The response, though, was immediate. Emergency services rushed to the scene, and authorities pretty quickly declared a major incident.
So here are the key facts you need to know. We're talking about the early Glasgow to London train, carrying 130 passengers. The derailment happened near Shap, but, and this is a really crucial detail, while the front carriage did leave the tracks, it stayed upright. And that little detail turned out to be incredibly important.
And this is, by far, the best news to come out of this entire thing. Every single one of those 130 passengers, plus all the crew, was safely evacuated from the train. They were taken to the nearby Shap Wells Hotel to be looked after. It's just a real testament to the quick and effective work of the emergency responders. So, despite a high-speed train coming off the rails, this is the most important number from the entire incident: 0. Absolutely 0 injuries were reported. A huge, huge relief for everyone involved. But, while everyone was safe, which is fantastic, the immediate impact on the national rail network was just enormous. Let's take a look at that fallout. As we mentioned, a major incident was declared. So what does that mean? It means a full, coordinated response was mobilized. We're talking police, fire, ambulance services, all of whom were praised by the Transport Secretary for their rapid and professional actions on the scene. The impact was just immediate and severe. North of Preston, the line was completely blocked. Nothing was getting through between Preston and Carlisle, and that, of course, meant severe disruption, cancellations, and delays that would just ripple out across the rest of the country for both passengers and freight. And this was not going to be a quick fix, not at all. The official word coming from the train operators was that this disruption would likely last for a number of days. So yeah, thousands of travel plans were about to be thrown into complete chaos. So what did all this mean for you if you were a traveler just trying to get from A to B? Let's look at the practical advice that was being given out. The advice from operators like Avanti West Coast and TransPennine Express was crystal clear. It was direct. They said, do not travel north of Preston unless your journey is absolutely essential. So for anyone affected, the advice was really broken down into 3 simple steps. First, and most importantly, listen to the warning and just avoid the area if you can. Second, start looking for alternative ways to make your journey. And third, make sure you know your rights when it comes to your ticket and getting a refund. Now, to help people out, other train companies stepped in pretty fast. They put a system called ticket acceptance in place. Basically, it means your Avanti ticket would be valid on other services, like L&R over on the East Coast, or Cross Country and ScotRail, which provided some really crucial alternative routes. And of course, there was the classic rail replacement bus service, running between Carlisle and Preston to try and bridge that gap. But, as you can probably imagine, when you're trying to move an entire main line's worth of passengers onto buses, well, let's just say they were expected to be extremely busy. So with the immediate crisis handled, it's worth just zooming out for a moment. To really get why one single derailment can cause such massive nationwide disruption, we need to appreciate what this railway line actually means to the UK. It's historically known as the Premier Line, and for good reason. This isn't just a set of tracks, it's a 400-mile economic and social corridor. It connects the financial powerhouse of London directly to major hubs like Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, all the way up to Glasgow. We're talking millions of passenger journeys and, as we saw, billions of pounds worth of goods depend on it. When you cut this line, you're not just stopping a train, you're severing a vital connection for business, for logistics, for daily life on the entire western side of Great Britain. So, what's next? Well, naturally, a full investigation by the Rail Accident Investigation Branch is now underway. It's their job to figure out exactly what caused this derailment. And while nothing is confirmed yet, early reports did mention that the weather at the time was pretty wet and windy. And all of this leaves us with a final, pretty big question. Look, the incident at Shap was handled incredibly well. No injuries, which is the main thing. But it's also a stark reminder of just how much we rely on these complex systems. With a major investigation now pending, it really makes you wonder, just how secure is the critical infrastructure we all depend on every single day?